Paris has always inspired artists and designers, and brand names are keen to have the French capital on their products, like an authenticity guarantee or a sign of quality. But a trend is emerging where it's not the city in the spotlight, but its neighbourhoods. The Paris Nord collection, for example, pays homage to Pigalle and Montmartre, while Isaquin is inspired by Barbès. Hélène, Emira and Leia launched their clothing line last summer. Sweatshirts and t-shirts featuring popular districts or arrondissements around the City of Lights.
Manège
à Trois draws inspiration primarily from the right bank. This is where we spend our time, go out with our friends. We live there. There's Belleville, which is quite simply extraordinary, with a large Asian community among such Jewish culture, and this inspires us. Then there's Goutte d'Or. I used to live there. It's a very unique and unusual neighbourhood. For the people who live there, Paris is becoming more like a group of very different villages, each with something very special to offer. I have friends all over Paris, and they're all very proud of their neighbourhood. I move house a lot, and if they had their way, I'd be moving to their area because that's the best place to live in Paris. The trio are giving Paris's slightly intellectual image a facelift through fashion. For us, the left bank is a more literary, artistic side of Paris. We position ourselves as a streetwear brand. We couldn't see ourselves making a Saint-Germain-des-Prés top, for example, just to appear chic. That's not our style. We see the right bank as more funky, more hip, and some of the neighbourhoods are slightly run down. And that's what we like about it, that imperfection. One neighbourhood with a somewhat notorious reputation, Pigalle. But 3 years ago, things started to change in the southern part, which has since been renamed South Pigalle. As with other districts, a clothing line was created, but what's a little more surprising, South Pigalle is now producing champagne. It's not actually made in Paris, of course, but in a village in the Champagne region. Laurent Oyot came up with this very novel idea for South Pigalle champagne.
We have an approach that exists in the domains of literature and music, where there is an extremely effective duo, an author and a publisher. So in this instance, the champagne producer is the author, and today we're working with Xavier Chabot. And of course, the publisher is us, South Pigalle.
And he didn't come to produce this champagne by accident.
We live around Place Saint-Georges, which is pretty much the heart of South Pigalle. And we adore this neighbourhood, so it seemed a logical step to use champagne to promote the neighbourhood we love.
Laurent makes sure the different producers he works with are given pride of place on the label. This is an opportunity for them to break into the Parisian market and also to make a very special vintage unique to South Pigalle.
We have different terms to describe the sweetness of the champagne: brut, extra brut, demi-sec. And Laurent wanted to make extra brut with a minimum amount of sugar. The wine is the same, just a different level of sugar.
The brand is currently sold in Paris only, but will soon be available outside the capital and perhaps even further afield.
We could say for a joke that even the Martians have heard of Pigalle, and that will really help us in conquering the rest of the world, without being egocentric about it.
Less well known globally, but just as busy, the shopping district of Montorgueil, which has inspired a new cap designer. A year ago, actor Frédéric Vilches revived the flat cap and gave it a luxury upgrade.
Me and a friend came up with the idea in our neighbourhood, Montorgueil. We would have lunch every day on the Rue Tiquetonne, which is parallel to the street where I live. And we noticed a lot of passers-by were wearing caps. But we didn't see any nice ones with lovely fabric and finishes. So initially I decided to design one for myself, a flat cap. This is the very first Tiquetonne cap. Cashmere wool, the underside is sheepskin and a different colour. and it has a silk lining. I love caps, and I thought it was time to give them a makeover, a facelift, a new lease of life.
Frédéric's creations are high-end items made in France entirely by hand.
This collection is very much New Wave influenced. Truffaut, Chabrol, the 1950s, Godard. There is a very Parisian, very French vibe.
And Frédéric doesn't cater solely for men.
This cap with Swarovski crystals was ordered for Beyoncé. I like the way it brought sparkles to the cap. It's very feminine. And that's what I'm looking for. I want to design for women too.
Frédéric's winter collection has expanded with 3 new models: the captain's hat, the newsboy cap, and the baseball cap.